And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. We just wrapped up with the Team Twisted Minds versus Matcherino Esports, and we had some pretty surprising results, to be honest. We had young Jakob popping up for his team, but Nicorette and Classic could not clean it up. They could not wrap up that series as Matcherino Esports. They fought back hard, very hard for themselves, and they do advance on into the next round. Meanwhile, we're here to find out who faces Matcherino Esports in the upper bracket finals. Is it going to be the KWANGDONG Freecs, or is it going to be Berserker Esports? Who is it going to be? We have some pretty massive lineups here. We have Armani versus BattleB, Stats versus Mixu, and Keen versus TeebuL. Interesting. I believe TeebuL is a new acquisition. My God, how am I missing some of these player signups? Double checking, and yeah, okay, TeebuL, he did join Berserker Esports a couple of months ago, actually. So my bad for missing that, but he has been on Berserker for a couple of months and is going to be repping them tonight as well. You do love to see it. And yeah, this is going to be a blast from the past. Okay, so a couple of things off the bat. The KWANGDONG Freecs, they're not fielding their ace. I would say TY is their ace player, and TY is nowhere to be found. I say he's their ace player because I believe he's the most in form out of their entire lineup. Out of all their players, TY is kind of, I would say, TY and Sue. They're the two players that are the most in form, and they have competed the most regularly recently. When it comes to the others, I mean, every player on KWANGDONG, they're more part-time really than anything. And Armani, Stats, and Keen, I would say that they're a little bit lacking here in the lineup, not having either Sue or TY. So this is the best case scenario for Berserker Esports. Best case scenario, as KWANGDONG Freecs, they have not fielded their best players. So we could see some upsets. We could see some of these European players really shine and pop off and even upset some of these old school big name veterans in the Korean scene. Here we go. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to see kind of the young up-and-coming European talent up against the more old guard of the Koreans. And here we go. Up first is Armani versus BattleB. Game 1 on Babylon. So pretty high-profile ZVT. I'm really excited to cast Armani. It has been too long. It's been far too long since we last casted Armani. Let me double-check. Armani was one of the first pro players we casted back in the day, back in the beginning of beginning of 2020 in IM Katowice, as we were the D stream at the time. And let me just double check, when was the last time we casted Armani? June of 2022, over a year ago. It's been a long time. And here he is in the top left hand corner of Babylon. We have the South Korean Zerg player for Team KWANGDONG Freecs. It is Armani. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the German Terran player representing Berserker Esports. It is BattleB. I'll be honest, I am a bit of an Armani fan. Have been for a very long time, ever since he was on Samsung Galaxy back in the day. And yeah, Armani's got a soft place in our hearts here. Let me just double-check. Looking at our YouTube channel, yes. So Armani was one of the first players we casted in IM Katowice 2020. We followed Armani through the entire open bracket. Through the qualifiers and into the main event. I'm just checking. We casted Armani versus Hurricane, Armani versus Trap, Armani versus Sue, Rainer versus Armani. Oh my God. We casted so much Armani in IM Katowice, and that was one of our first major casts back in the beginning of 2020. Before that, it was Copa America, which was at the end of 2019. So that was the beginning of these big high-profile casts for the Cranky Ducklings. So, Armani, he has a soft place in my heart, but I'm also fully aware as well, there's a reason why the last time we casted Armani was over a year ago, and that's because Armani has been less active. He did take a bit of a step back here from the game, as did a lot of these players, and he hasn't been competing full-time, hasn't been practicing full-time. So this is not the Armani of old. This is not, Armani in peak condition. And we kind of saw that with a lot of the KWANGDONG Freek players last night, but in the previous days of Code A as well. So we'll see if BattleB can shape up here to the current form of Armani. We'll see if he can cause an upset. Here we go. For the time being, we do have some pretty standard openers. It is going to be a 1-1-1 setup here. Or sorry, I should say the beginnings of a 3CC before starport for BattleB. Meanwhile, Armani, he goes for a hatch gas pull into a third base. So very standard stuff here from Armani at least. And likewise, nothing too crazy from BattleB either. As he did go for his own Rax expand. So we're just focusing on our economies for the time being. My eyes, though, are on BattleB here. As yeah, I was about to say that we should have seen a third CC by now before the factory finished, and we did not. So we are going for a 1-1-1, a much more aggressive opener from BattleB. So he does want to be more assertive this game. He wants to be in the face of his opponent. There's a lot of pressure now on BattleB to get economic damage. The reason for that is because BattleB is delaying his third CC by quite a bit in favor of this starport. Now, with this, of course, is going to be making Hellions for map control. Hellions are maneuvering out across the map. Ooh, Viking first. Is this going to be BC? Marauder is on the way. Okay, so the Viking is going to be hiding the build here of BattleB. With the Marauder in production, this is looking like a Hellbat push. As additional Hellions are on the way. No armory yet, but we don't need the armory until we start to move out. Again, there was no add-on swap, and the goal here for BattleB is to keep this hidden. He's rallying the Marauders back into his own main base. And Armani is in the dark. Ooh, but he is playing this out very safely. He throws down a safety baleen nest. He hasn't seen too much, but this baleen nest is actually going to work wonders for him. Ling dips in, doesn't see too much. So typically, we would skip the baleen nest, and we would go for a lair around now, around the 4-minute 30 mark. So for Armani to go for this baleen nest tells us that he feels uneasy about what's going on. He obviously is denied scouting because of the Vikings, so he's respecting BattleB quite a lot, recognizing that, hey, if he's going to be denied scouting, then he needs to make queens, he needs to throw down a baleen nest. And here we go. The Hellbat push is on the way now. This Marauder variant is not very committed. This is not all in. You can see a third CC is on the way for BattleB, so he's looking to trade with the queens. He doesn't have to do game-ending damage. And here we go. The Hellbats are being morphed in. Banelings are likewise being morphed in as well. The queens do come into the front lines, but the Marauders are putting in a lot of work onto those queens. A decent split here from the Hellbats. But with the reinforcements, this should be cleaned up. Again, the queens, they all come together. The Ling reinforcements come in, and BattleB... I did mention that BattleB didn't need to end the game. He didn't need to kill the economy, but he did need to trade with the queens. And that didn't happen. He killed 2 queens, I want to say. 2 queens, and he traded with the Ling Bane. That is not enough. Armani has a solid hold. He takes a lair, getting his gases, getting fully saturated on 3 bases, and Armani, he has so much freedom, even throws down 2 Evo chambers at a time, knowing that he has the freedom to do so. So BattleB is on the back foot. He's on the back foot right now. Trying to get into the rest of his production, trying to be active with these Hellions. He is desperate for damage, and these Hellions, they got a lot of work to do. Is he going to be able to clean up some of this creep at least? Trying to keep Armani honest. Force him to make lings. Force him to make units. Interesting, as we do see 4 more Raxes on the way for BattleB. 5 Rax setup. It's pretty standard here on 3 bases. Armani is rushing into an infestation pit. That's going to be for adrenal glands, for vipers as well. Very greedy move out of Armani. Move that he can't afford to do at the moment. Oh my god, he's even double expanding. Taking his 4th and his 5th at the same time. Banshees are in the mix. Additional Raxes, of course. Again, so far... Oh, never mind. Okay, so BattleB is going for a 3-base all-in. If I'm not mistaken, if my math is correct, I believe those are 8 Raxes. 5 in the main, 2 in the natural. Sorry, 2 in the natural. I think we have another on the way. So I believe we are going to be setting up for an 8 racks, an abundance of racks is... but gases are being taken, so I may have miscounted the racks. It's very, very likely, very likely. I am very tired. But we'll see how BattleB pieces this all together, as he is taking his 5th gas geyser at his 3rd. But I'm pretty sure he has 7 Raxes at the moment, right? It is 5 in the main. We'll be able to double check when we do pan back in there. For now, though, Banshees are going to be swatted away. Ooh, Baling Ramai does come in. 6 SCVs already go down. 8, 9 in total. Big connection on the Marines even as well. Banshees are coming in to harass. Trying to do what they can. Yo, the token swarm host on the way. Let's go, Bobby. Let's go. Of course, it wouldn't be a ZVT without that token swarm host. It's there for morale. It does boost really the other Ling Bane units here of the Zerg. Oh my god. He's not looking. He's not looking, and a lot of Marines, they take the Balings to the face. Ay, ay, ay. Not like this. BattleB, he's already up against the wall. To lose Marines in such a fashion is not helping. As he does get 5 worker kills in the main. Pretty good damage is dealt. And nicely done, as we are just building up the tank count, building up the bio count as well. It's going to be a lot of Marines. I can't wait. I want to get a glimpse of the main base. I'm pretty sure we're 8 racks. Pretty sure. As BattleB is just building up a massive army, a massive force. Again, there's no force CC behind this, so this is a 3-base all-in from BattleB. It's all or nothing. He has his 1-1 upgrades. He's got +1 vehicle weapons as well. BattleB is not thinking further ahead. He's not taking up any further. He's not taking a 4th base. It's all or nothing for BattleB. Again, ARAX is a very common and very popular on this map. Oh, drop comes in. Here we go. Here comes the main army on the left-hand side. Getting on top of some of these morphing and Banelings. Armani is in a bit of trouble. A little bit, but the Vipers are out there gathering energy in the main base. The Hydrogen is exposed, but not really the most important tech structure here for Armani. He needs to just focus on Ling Bane production. Now, the good thing about this position is you can focus down the rocks, but here we go. The Vipers come in. Big blinding clouds on every single tank, and BattleB is being cleaned up. There aren't too many Banelings left, so Armani has to be careful not to overextend. As he does have to back off, does have to respect the reinforcements here of BattleB. But more Banelings are morphed in. That Hydrogen is going to get sniped. One tank does arrive, and those rocks are going to be knocked down. That is going to provide a wall here for BattleB. It's going to make it that much more difficult to engage. But there's still just an overwhelming army. Plenty of Ling Bane here for Armani, as he does force BattleB back. This time Armani does have a couple of Banelings mixed in, so he can engage. Not the wisest of choices, but he gets the tank. 3-3 on the way. Adrenal. And again, BattleB, he was all in. He was all in on 3 bases. Like, there's nothing else here. There's no 3-3. There's no Ghost Academy. There's no 4th base. There is no economy. He's coming in for wave 3. Oh, God. And even off of creep, Armani, he can engage. The power bomb is going to make things awkward. Bailey's connect. Marines are going down. Armani going back home to just gather up more energy. There is a drop here towards the north, which is going to do quite a bit of damage. But alas, it was only 3 worker kills. It's not quite enough. And from here, we've rebuilt the Hydra Den. We've got a Lunker Den on the way, which is not going to be ideal. There are tanks and Liberators out. But regardless, you know, we're just taking up. We're just making sure we have everything we need for any kind of scenario, any kind of situation. As BattleB is coming in with wave 4. or wave 5. I've lost count at this point. But he's coming in with another push. Armani, at this point, is maxed out, though. Again, his economy, for the most part, was untouched. He's been able to max out with a superior army. Third CC has to be evacuated. SCVs are going down. The entire army turns back around as well. Armani being a little bit cheeky, even burrowing some lings under the CC. I was curious what we were going to be doing with those Vipers. We just go for some power bombs. Again, Armani has very limited anti-air, so he's doing what he can with his Vipers. With his parasitic bombs. Medevacs are looking very low. Oh, the one swarm host is still alive. Let's go. The token swarm host. It's getting involved. Shout out to Armani for not using F2. Keeping that swarm host alive. And here we go. He's pushing on in. It gets on top of the tanks. Bailey's roll on forward as well. And BattleB is being cleaned up. GG gets called. And Armani takes game number 1. GG. Get a very powerful performance here from Armani. BattleB did try to spice things up with the Hellbat push, but we saw Armani, even though he didn't see the armory, he didn't see the Hellbat push upon him, he at least knew about the 1-1-1, and he was aware that BattleB was denying vision, so he was playing very safe, going for additional queens, going for a Bailey nest. For all he knows, it could have been like a BC opener, could have been a battlecruiser, but that's why he was also making queens. And he was able to get an army ready in time to deal with those Hellbats. He shut it down, and after that moment, it did feel like BattleB was on the back foot. He tried to follow up with a 3-base all-in, but he stumbled along the way into his 3-base all-in, and GG. GG, well played. Armani does take game 1. BattleB, he's going to have to try to bring it all back here on Dragon Scales. It is BattleB's map of choice. Dragon Scales, a very small map. A very short rush distance by ground. This tells me that BattleB wants to be aggressive again. This tells me that he doesn't want to go for a long game. He doesn't want to go for a macro game. Otherwise, you'd see like Ancient Cistern or Altitude or even Gressvan, of course, as well. But yeah, for a map like Dragon Scales, something like an ARAX could do better. BattleB, he may go for a more economic start into an aggressive follow-up. We'll see. We'll keep our eyes on BattleB and what he decides to whip out on Dragon Scales. So we're going to be loading on in, and in the top left-hand corner, we have, for Team KWANGDONG Freecs, it is Armani. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the German Terran player representing Berserker Esports. It is BattleB. Here we go. Catching up in the chat. Swarm host? Look, the most impressive thing about that last game, obviously, like, Armani, he had a really solid reaction, a really solid defense, but to keep the Swarm host alive, that was really, that shows that he cares. He cares about his units, he cares. You know, any other player would see the Swarm host and they'd probably kill it. They'd probably just kill their own Swarm host just so they can free up supply and refine their army. Nah, not Armani. You know, he makes use of it. It got SCV kills. You know, he sent a Locust Wave towards the third. It was helping. GG. As we're getting into our second game, and so far, Hatch Gas Pool once again from Armani. Do love to see it. And BattleB across the map going for a standard opener as well. What I mean by that is that he's not going for a 2-Rax opener. We have been seeing a little bit more of BattleB recently because we've been casting WTL. But we haven't seen BattleB adopt the Beyond opener. He hasn't gone for the 2-Rax on the low ground. It's something that the other top European Terrans have adopted. You know, Spirit, Hero Marine, Clem, they've all done it. They all mix it into their series. They mix it into their ZVTs. We haven't seen that yet from BattleB. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't do it. I'm not saying that he can't do it. But so far, we haven't seen that. We haven't seen that yet. So because of that, I'm sure Armani, he's going to have a much more comfortable time in the early game. He's going to be able to get his natural up and running. We have queens on the way, lings as well. Everything as it should. as we get into game number 2. My eyes are still locked on BattleB. He showed us in that last game that he is willing to be assertive. He's willing to be very aggressive with his Hellbat opener. Oh, Reaper comes in. Does not get the drone. Oof, oh my god. Does not quite get a worker. It was close though. Was quite close. Does get a Ling in the end. But the Queens are coming out and Armani does hold on to his mineral line. But again, game 1 basically showed us that BattleB is willing to be a little bit more, I don't want to say cheesy, but just again, aggressive against Armani. And so far, so good. Economic opener. It's going to be a third CC before Starport. So this time, very economic here from BattleB. Less aggressive. Going to be getting into the mid game in a more, in a better position, I should say. Now, just because BattleB's opener is economic doesn't mean that he won't be aggressive afterwards. This could still lead into an 8 racks. Into a much stronger 8 racks as well, as long as BattleB doesn't fall behind. For now, though, he's applying pressure with his Reaper, just trying to hold on to some map control. Third base is on the way for Armani. Queens are coming out. Creep is slowly being spread. Oh, it looks like an active tumor was taken out, so pretty big win for BattleB. And it is going to be 3cc Banshee, so very standard stuff here from our Terran player. Banshee's on the way. Hellions are coming out for map control. And we are committing to Cloak this time. We committed last time as well, to be fair. But this time we are rushing. We're racing into that Cloak. Detection will be required, and depending on how many Banshees we back up, we could even go toe-to-toe with the Queens. Could even go straight for the Queens. For now, though, the Hellions, they just poke and prod. They confirm the third base. They confirm the droning. And things are going to settle down. You know, we're easing our way into game 2. Nothing too fancy. Every now and then we can see a tumor going down or a Ling going down. Oh, okay, no, we're fine. I was like, we have a lair. We do have a lair, but this is a 4-minute 30 lair timing. That's standard lair timing for Armani. I guess what I should point out is that this time he doesn't go for a safety bathing nest. Bathing nest this time is on the way at a regular timing for Armani. So again, he's aware that his opponent is being more economic. He's aware that he doesn't need to hyperfixate on defensive structures. Queens are in position. Banshee gets fended off. Hellions rotate over towards the third base, and they're going straight for... Oh, they almost go straight for the mineral line. They are going to be forced back. And yeah, so far, both players have been the ebb and flow of ZVT. BattleB, he's looking for openings, and Armani is not allowing these Hellions into any of these bases. Not yet, anyway. Of course, this is still on a knife's edge, still very tense. As BattleB, he's just, you know, looking for opportunities. Hellions rotating back around. The Banshees do meet up with the Hellions, and we are getting into a mineral line. 3 drones go down. And Armani cannot punish BattleB. BattleB will be able to slip away. So, a good move from our Terran player. Nothing too massive, nothing too impactful, but 3 workers is still pretty good damage nonetheless. Meanwhile, Armani has taken his gases. 2 gases in the natural, in the main, and the third base. 6 gases can only mean one thing. A Spire. We have a Spire in production for Armani, so Lingbane Muta instead. Now, there's some pros and cons. Oof, as the Banshees get 2 more drones. The upgrades are delayed. 1-1 is going to be delayed for Armani in favor of more Muta play. But we can see that those 2 Evo chambers, they aren't too far behind. And what that tells us is that it looks like Armani may not be intending to go mass Muta. It looks like he intends to make enough Mutas for map control. So I'm talking like 7 Mutas, around 7 workers. Sorry, 7 Mutas at most. Just to harass and just to force a reaction. Meanwhile, the Lings, they get us around. Good positioning here from Armani. Does take down 2 of those Hellions. Not just 2, he wants a third. Oh, he does get a third Hellion as well. Good movement here from the blue Zerg player. More Lings are on the way. BattleB is moving out here at the 7-minute mark. He doesn't have as much to support his army. He did just lose 3 Hellions. Oh, the armory isn't done either, so those last remaining Hellions cannot morph into Hellbats. Not yet. There we go. Mutas are on the way. Now, I assume that we would make 7 mutas, but we have 10 mutas in production, so a little bit more than I thought we would invest into. These mutas, of course, they can shut down the drops, they can pick away at the tanks. Good positioning from BattleB. But the mutas are on the way, and again, their goal here, I imagine, is to focus down that tank. Yeah, the mutas, they are diving in. Once the tank goes down, Armani, he can collapse on this army. Now, can he deal with this before the reinforcements arrive? 2 full medevacs are on the way. And Armani, he is pulling the trigger. He gets on top of the tank. And he does shut down this position. The reinforcements they got here like 2 seconds too late. And BattleB has to back off. That was pretty close. That was pretty clutch. And Armani, he's pushing out across the map, but he's running into the reinforcements. He's losing some mutas. He's losing some mutas, but he does not care. He gets the tanks. Max off. Does lose a big chunk of his Ling Bane, but he picks off those high-tech units. He's able to back off, regroup, rebuild. Mutas coming out once again. Looking to pick off a medevac if possible. He does get one. Up. Will not lose a muta. Barely doesn't lose a muta. I spoke too soon. As at the same time, the Banshees overextended. They do go down as well. BattleB falling apart a little bit there. This army kind of just went in ahead of time. And with that, Armani, he has held. He's got his 4th base up and running. Now, BattleB this time is not going for a 3-base all-in. 4th base is done, and he's attempting to land it on location. But as he moves to land that base, we have Armani in position to deny the 4th. And Marine reinforcements are here, but again, they're trickling on in. The entire army has to turn back around. That base takes a lot of hits. At the same time, we do have BattleB moving out on the right-hand side with a large army. It's a lot of Marines. And do we have any Bailings back in? Oh, yeah, we do. It's like, do we have any Bailings to defend? Yeah, we got plenty of Bailings. They do hold the line. As Armani's main army does come back home. 1-1 is done. 2-2's on the way. Well, the medevacs do get caught out once again. These mutas have to be very careful. So Armani, he catches more reinforcements. Oh, Marines going down one after the other, but BattleB doesn't care. He's focusing on the main fight. He's focusing on the main push. Oh, that's not a lot of Bailings. That is not a lot of Bailings. And Armani, he's up against the wall. 12 more Bailings are in production, but it looks like Armani, can he hold on? The mutas, they come back to defend. Big mine shots are going off, and BattleB, he is gaining ground. But he's also heavily overstimmed, and these medevacs, they're running out of energy. This is honestly pretty close. Armani needs more Ling Bane. These mutas, they get a medevac, but we do lose a muta in the process. Again, mutas, they're great to harass. They are not so good when it came to these head-to-head engagements. In a straight-up fight, mutas, they struggle. They need something to support. As we see Armani trying to go for a run by, doesn't quite pull it off. Has to come back home. These mines, they do mean a lot here. It looks like 7 workers go down on the right-hand side. Was that a mine drop? I'm not too sure. Not being shown here, but 7 workers do fall. And BattleB is going to be able to take down this base on the left-hand side. Again, the power of Dragon Sails. Because it's so short, the rush distance, it doesn't take too long at all to get across the map. Oh, the mutas, they run into a Thor. They will bring it down. Oh, as things are looking very awkward for Armani. And BattleB, he's looking to snowball out of control. Good positioning overall. The wind mines are being brought forward. Another hatchery is under threat, and Armani, he's up against the wall. Yeah, he does not have enough to deal with this. The mines! Big mine shots go off. Armani losing the majority of his army. And BattleB is snowballing out of control. He may have struggled in Game 1, but here in Game 2, here on Dragon Scales, he is working wonders. The Mutas, they try to engage, they take down a Lib. But the man with gun, the Marines are just too much, they're just too strong. Armani, he's going for one last-ditch effort. He has a lot of Bailings. Oh god, but the mines. The mine shots are insane. They do force Armani back. BattleB is going to be rotating over towards the right-hand side. He's taking a 5th base behind this. BattleB, he's ahead economically. He has a decent army. Armani could maybe take a fight. Like, there's always a lot of potential with these mutas. Like, there's a lot of potential. They could maybe catch all the medevacs. They could catch the marauders. Oh, that's a kill, not a cancel. 300 minerals down the drain. Armani bringing everything back. Oh, but dealing with these marauders is going to be a difficult thing to do. Good pickoffs with the mutas. He gets a couple of marauders. He gets the widow mines. And here we go, Armani. He's rolling on in. This time a much better trade. No widow mines are in position. There are no widow mines. Mutas trying their best here to overwhelm. We even forced some friendly fire earlier. Armani, he barely holds. But that is a 5th base on the way. Armani, he has to do something to the economy of BattleB. Because BattleB has been so aggressive, Armani, he hasn't touched the workers here at BattleB in a very long time. And I'm sure Armani knows that. I'm sure he knows that the pressure is on him to get damage done. Big mine shot off on the mutas. And if this 5th base gets up and running, then Armani, he just won't have a chance. But here we go. He's just doubling down on mutas. Nothing but the muta. There we go. We've got leagues on the way as well. BattleB just going to be rotating over towards the left, looking to deny another hatchery. The mutas, though, they catch a turret. They get into a mineral line. Finally, the mines! Massive mine shots on the Bailings once again. But these mutas, they're doing a great job here distracting the main army. They are distracting BattleB. As 7 SCVs go down, the mutas dancing between the bases. It looks like this hatchery may go down, though. BattleB may just have too much. Bailings rolling in, but massive mine shots once again take down the Bailings. Reinforcements for Armani. They barely cleaned this up, but this was merely one half of the army. Oh my god, did he kill the base? The CC goes down? And this is forcing BattleB all in. He's sending everything across the map. I mean, I say all in. BattleB, he still has a solid economy. Factory is going to be going down. Depots as well. It may be wise for Armani to just give up this base and give up this location. God, there's just so much coming in. Oh, the mutas, they come in from behind. Oof. They do take a mine to the face. Hatchery will fall. That's a lot of marauders. And the Bailings, they can't get on top of the Marines. Forced to detonate on marauders of all things. Not the best trade for Armani whatsoever. BattleB is gaining more ground. The Mutaflock trying to do what it can. Oof. It's being zoned away. And the Marines, they just... they do force it back. And BattleB, he takes down one base and he's looking for another. At the same time, Armani finally does get on top of the 5th. He's going to clean up the Marines. The majority of them, at least. Oh, but he loses 16 drones. He did not pull back. These mutas are keeping Armani in this game, but after losing an entire mineral line, yeah, and he loses a big chunk of his mutas. GG gets called. It's too much, and BattleB does tie up the series 1-1. Bringing it back for himself and for his team. GG. GG. And this is more of what I expected from BattleB on Dragon scales as well. Didn't quite go for a 3-base all-in. Did go for a 4th, but we saw that like his aggression just did not end. He just did not allow Armani to breathe. I do think that it was a misstep to go for mutas on this map. Obviously there's a lot of power in mutas, but mutalists, they typically thrive on larger maps like Ancient Cistern or Gressvan or Altitude. The reason for this is because these larger maps have so much more room to maneuver, to use the terrain against the ground army, to dance between the bases, to force the army to, again, take longer to keep up with the mutas as well. And on top of that, to give the Zerg player more time to rebuild and react to these move outs. On smaller maps, mutas, they can struggle. They can struggle a lot more, as we saw. It did not take long at all for BattleB to assert himself and to go for these pushes, to go for these counterattacks. And Armani was struggling. He was struggling to hold on. GG, well played. We have a tied up 1-1 series. And now we get into a PvZ from here. Stats versus Mixu. Oh, here we go. Stats, of course, the Shield of Ire. Though not quite the wall, that is Showtime. But, you know, in a way, the Korean Showtime, with how defensive he can be and what he was known for back in the day. Stats nowadays, again, he's not quite as in form as he once was. There was a time where Stats was the best Protoss. There was a time where Stats was the best Protoss player in the world. That time has come and gone. And at the moment, he's still looking to recover his previous skill set. You know, Stats has been back for quite a number of months at this point. But again, he is part-time, and we'll see what he's looking like here as we spawn into Royal Blood. In the bottom left-hand corner for KWANGDONG Freecs, it is Stats. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Finnish Zerg player from Berserker Esports. It is Mixu. Here we go. Again, Berserker Esports, they are fighting back against the KWANGDONG Freecs. I did mention earlier that this is the best case scenario for Berserker, just because the KWANGDONG Freecs, they are not fielding their strongest lineup. They're not fielding TY or Suitonite. So as a result, the rest of the KWANGDONG Freecs, they do have to step it up. They do have to rise to the challenge against the Berserkers. We'll see if they can. Now, Stats, he did return to StarCraft 2. At the start of the year, around the start of the year, did return to streaming, to competing, to laddering. But he has been pretty inactive, or he just hasn't. Yeah, he hasn't been very consistent when it comes to playing for online tournaments, whether it's ESL Open Cups or KSLs as well. Especially at the start of the year, if you remember, there was a stream. Notorious, I think the stream was translated on Team Liquid, where Stats, I think it was alongside TY, maybe Sue as well. They were on stream talking about the new changes to GSL and the shrinking of the Korean scene. And of course, Stats, you know, very optimistic. He was, of course, talking about how, hey, he was going to still play whenever he could, and still ladder whenever he could, and stream whenever he could, and you know, he is. But alas, he just hasn't been too active in these last couple of months, and that's why I hope to see the KWANGDONG Freecs make it through. I want to see more Stats. I want to see more Armani. I want to see more Keen. And like, the only way we can see them is if the KWANGDONG Freecs make it through. Like, if they make it through, then there's more reason for them to play and compete in KSL and ESL Open Cup Asia and all these other online tournaments. They can be active again. They have another reason to kind of fuel their passion and fuel their drive to improve and to compete. That's why events like WTL are so important. But they still have to make it through some of these other teams. And Berserker Esports, they were a part of WTL of the last season of Code S. They've already proved themselves before, and they can do it again. As UDEP does make its way across the map, it's going to be a Stargate opener from Stats to go into the Oracles, as to be expected. Standard opener here from our Protoss player. Meanwhile, Mixu, he's just going to be making a wave of lings here to make sure he's able to hold on and defend against Adeps, to make sure they don't get out of control. Adeps, they do make their way through, but one Adept is not going to go down. Stats barely making it out in time. Making it back shading to defend that third base, and the first Oracle has hit the field, or the first Oracle has hit the field, and the second is on the way. Here we go. Yeah, nothing too fancy so far. Mixu is just droning. Talking about Mixu, I know I've been focusing a lot on stats, and it's exciting. You know, stats, he doesn't compete too often anymore, so we want to showcase him whenever we can. But Mixu, he is much more of a standard player here, as all the Oracles do dive into the main base. 3-4 drones go down. Already a good amount of damage done here by stats, and that was only one Oracle. We have a second and a third Oracle on the way. Again, Mixu, when it comes to these matchups, when it comes to ZVP, he's not really one to go for like a Link Queen Nidus all-in or a 19 drone Link Flood. Mixu, he isn't too cheesy. He can go all-in off of 3 bases, off of like a 3-base economy. That is as aggressive as Mixu typically gets. But for the most part, he's more of a standard player. A more straight-up macro-oriented player. And we'll see if that continues to be the case, as Stats, oh my god, is mixing things up. So he has his 3 Oracles. He has 3 Oracles, yes, but he follows it up with a Twilight Council. No Forge. This feels like Glaive Adepts. Vanilla Adepts are on the way, quite a lot of them. 6 Adepts in total are going to be shading towards the natural base. Likewise, we have the Oracles also threatening those mineral lines. Getting what damage they can. Mixu does react beautifully here with a wall. Does wall off, does hold on for now. Meanwhile, Stats, show us what you got. There it is. It is Glaives. So because there's no Forge, that was the tell. The tell that it's going to be a Glaive Adept follow-up. A Forge +1 upgrades do not help Adepts whatsoever. Not really an upgrade that you want to coincide with it. And this is going to be quite committed from Stats. Very committed. Because there's no Forge, because there's no Blink, there's no Charge, there's no Temple Archives, no Robotic Spade, there's no further tech. And if this doesn't do damage, then Stats is going to be behind. He will fall behind if this doesn't snowball out of control. And we'll see if he can pull it off. As we have the Oracle stuck in the main base. They do dip into that main, though. They get 7 drone kills. Oh my god. For the price of 1 Oracle, well worth it for our Protoss player. The Adepts are banking up, and that's a lot of Adepts moving out across the map. Now, as they move out, now we have the Forge. Now we have the Robo on the way. So Stats, he's taking up further. This is not all in. He is transitioning. But even though this isn't all in, this still has to do damage. And we shaded the wall is not a wall, and Mixu is unprepared. Roaches are on the way, but they're not ready yet, and workers are going down. This is already too much damage, and this only just begun. 15 workers go down. The spores are going down as well, which means those Oracles, they can do even more damage without the spores being in position. The Adepts continue to bounce between these bases. Back at home, Stats, he needs to start producing Immortals. He needs to start getting ready for the eventual all-in from his opponent. As the Adepts, they even pick off another Roach. They go straight for the Queens even. That's just how many Adepts we have. We have more at the third base. Everything is on fire. Mixu is just losing a little bit too much here in the main base. Adept's going to be threatening a shade towards that natural. Mixu does at least have a 4th. Hey, he's on 51 workers, but I spoke too soon. GG gets called. Stats, he snowballs out of control, and he will take game number 1. GG. Stats, he may have been known for more defensive play back in the day. May have been known as a Shield of Fire. But that was pre-military. Post-military Stats, he's a changed man. You know, he's seen things. He's experienced things. And now that he has finished his military service, he is back here with a vengeance. Very aggressive stuff here from Stats. And again, he wasn't all in. That's the scary thing about these hidden Glaive Adept timings, is that he was working towards Blink, +1, Immortal production, Disruptors. He was working on the next step if Mixu were to defend, but we saw he just was underprepared. He was not ready for all of those Adepts, and Stats got out of control. GG. GG, well played. That's game 1 in the books. Now, what's important about game one is that we didn't really learn too much about the players. We didn't really learn too much about stats. That was a very well executed triple Oracle into Glaive Adepts, but I'm sure that's something that we won't see again, especially on a large map like this. Up next, Altitude. Altitude is up next, which does make plenty of sense. Is a very large map in the map pool, and this tells us that Mixu, he wants stats to back the hell off and to go for a longer game. At least get saturated on 3 bases, work towards a 4th, get more comfortable, and get into the mid game. That's what Mixu wants. Is Stats going to give that to him? Is he going to give that to him and more? A map like Altitude, it's very large, a lot of bases. It is not unheard of to go for something like 3-4 bases, you wall off, rush into Fleet Beacon, rush into Sky Toss. Stats, he can go back to what he once knew. You know, go for a very defensive play into carriers. We'll see. As in the bottom left-hand corner on Altitude, we have the South Korean Protoss, so KWANGDONG Freecs, it is Stats. And his opponents in the top right-hand corner for Berserker Esports, the Finnish Zerg player, it is Mixu. Here we go. See the chat. From the Shield of Ire to the Spear of Adun. Exactly. Oh, here we go. Oh, my Asher, bro. Hello, Papi. Hello. You survived. You're alive. Welcome back, Papi. Welcome back. For those wondering, Asher, he went outside today. He did step outside into the unknown, into the abyss, and I was worried that we had seen the last of him. You know, I was ready to bid adieu to El Asher, bro, but he's back. He made it back home. Welcome. Regale us with your stories, Papi. Much love to Asher, of course. Always. As we're getting into our second game. So far, hatch gas pool here from Mixu. Everything looking normal, everything looking standard. Everything looking as it should. Force technically unnatural. Natural, but outside of that, everything is looking normal. Risen from the ashes like a bro. Of the basements? Are basements a thing in Europe? Basements are not a thing here in Australia. Here in Australia, basements are unheard of. Like, they're always like a part of American or North American like media. From myself. But I wonder if they're a thing in Europe. Let us know. Let us know.
As a European, I can confirm that basements are definitely a thing. However, we don't use them the same way Americans do, apparently.
There you go. Fair enough, Kur. Fair enough. As we are just going to be setting up here, and Stats is going to be going for a Stargate opener. Just like the previous game, it's what we expect. But my eyes are on Stats. We saw him go for a very aggressive follow-up in game number 1, going into, of course, those hidden Glaive Adepts. I expect to see something different here. I would not be surprised if he commits to Sky Toss. I'm curious if he instead goes for like a creator approach and goes for an Immortal Archon heavy composition instead. Again, my eyes are glued to what Stats whips out. Outside of that, Mixu is just droning. He's just droning, just chilling, getting his third base, getting his hatcheries up and running. Oh. I wish I lived in parents' basements. Oh, true. I'm guessing if you have a basement in Australia, it'll be infested by poisonous beasts. Unironically, depending on where you live, I mean, snakes are a hazard. We have been seeing a lot of, especially as the year goes on, not unheard of to have snakes creep into the house or into a roof, especially. You're not wrong. Not like this. For now, though, we do see another gateway on the way. Third base being taken by Stats. Nothing too crazy for now. We can see Mixu is in position to try to delay the third. Gets on top of the Adepts, but I believe the Adepts should be able to hold on. Meanwhile, the Oracle does get across the map and gets one drone, but not too much else. Mixu was in position, and he does take down those Adepts, but he will not delay the third, as the third base will get up and running. But at least Mixu was able to do some counter damage, and more importantly, Mixu was able to preserve his workers. He has barely lost any drones here this game compared to the previous. It isn't just because of the Oracle harass, but also because of the rush distance by ground stats. He hasn't been able to be as aggressive with his vanilla Adepts early on. So Mixu has had a much more comfortable early game. Very comfortable game here from Mixu. Getting into his 3-base saturation. We do see Stats moving out though with his Oracles. And this is looking like a more creator style. What I mean by that, instead of a Twilight Council, instead of a Forge, we have a Robo coming up next. So Stats is going to be delaying his upgrades in favor of, I imagine, Immortals. And not just Immortals, those were Sentries. Uh-oh. Stats. You're crazy, puppy. He's going for an all-in. Before that happens, Adepts do get across the map. They're going to be wreaking some havoc. They do manage to snipe a couple of drones. 2 workers go down. Oracles also head towards the natural as well. They focus down the Queen. Just wreaking havoc. 4 gateways are on the way. I believe that is 6 in total. Sentries are being morphed in. This is going to be an old school Soul Train-esque all-in from Stats. Immortals, Sentries, vanilla gateway units. You don't need Blink. You don't need Charge. Know where we're going. Okay, so you don't really get to see this too often. I believe Creator has variations on this with mixed success. I'll be honest. And I wonder if Mixu will see this. The Overlord is getting across the map, and if the Overlord sees the Sentries, that is already a massive tell. 2 more drones go down. I think the Overlord may have seen those Sentries. Like, you would not morph them in otherwise, unless you were going for a ground-based push. Now, what's interesting here is that I assumed it would be Immortal Sentry. There are no Immortals. There is a War Prism, but it looks like it's only going to be gateway units here from Stats. Okay, so as a result, this is going to hit faster. As a result, he doesn't have to wait for the Immortals to be produced. He's moving out across the map. Overlords are going down. The all-in has arrived. The reason why I say it's an all-in, again, there's no Forge for upgrades, there's no Robotics Bay either. He's getting straight on top of the Queens. Oh my god, the Sentries have arrived. Force fields are being thrown down, and he's just looking to cripple Mixu before he can muster up an army. The Ravagers are exposed. Biles will connect with the War Prism. He's trying to fix it down. And it is not enough. GG gets called. Stats overwhelms Mixu and takes the 2-0. GG. Very aggressive games here from Stats. Game 1 going for a standard opener into Glaive Adepts. Here in Game 2, standard economic opener into a big all-in with Sentries, with vanilla Stalkers as well. Catching Mixu off guard. Really good killer instinct out of Stats to immediately just go for the army, ignore the hatchery itself. He knew how committed he was. He went straight for the Queens, went straight for the Ravagers as well. And it wasn't just the timing of the attack, but also the lead up as well for the Oracles and the Adepts to distract and keep Mixu busy long enough to allow for the all-in to occur. GG. With that, Stats will take a 2-0, and KWANGDONG Freecs are 1 game away from taking the entire series. As a reminder, it's 1st to 4. So Keen needs 1 more win. If TeebuL is able to get a 2-0 here, we go to the ace match. We go all the way to the final game of this best of 7. But the pressure is on TeebuL. And our next game is on altitude. Catching up with the chat. Basements in movies are like downstairs workshops. The dungeon, papi. Oh. Really? That's why we really want basements. To be the dungeon. Aye, aye, aye. Our basement is a gym, a storage room with their HVAC. Oh, nice, nice. It's really cool. So rich you can afford room for your potatoes. I was about to say that I'm pretty sure basements in Europe are more like storage rooms. That would make a lot of sense. What's your background nationality? He was born in Texas. That is not true. I've never been to America. Why are you spreading lies? In the bottom left-hand corner of altitude, we have the South Korean Terran player representing KWANGDONG Freecs. It is Kane, the commander himself. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Pakistani Protoss player representing Berserker Esports. It is TeebuL. Let's go. Let us go. But for those wondering, both of my parents are Peruvian. Both of my parents are from the land of Peru, from Latino America. I have been to Peru. I spent a month there a long time ago. It was back in 2009. Was able to meet a bunch of family. As you can imagine, when it comes to Latin American families, I have a lot of it. Got a lot of got a lot of uncles, a lot of aunties, a lot of cousins, second cousins, third cousins. Yeah, families, they get pretty big. Pretty big. Oh. But of course, born and raised here in the land of Oz, land of Australia. Mate. Okay, I'm done. As we're getting into potentially the final best of two here of the night. The final series. Again, for context, if TeebuL takes this 2-0, then we will have an ace match. We will have one final best of one to determine who moves on to face off against Machirino Esports in the next round and who gets knocked down to the lower bracket. Again, if you're a fan of Berserker Esports or if you're a fan of KWANGDONG Freecs, do not worry. Whoever wins, whoever loses, neither one of these teams is going to be eliminated yet. This is not an elimination match. That will be reserved for tomorrow. That is tomorrow. Until then, we do have a Rax Expand setup here from Keen. Very economic opener. Makes sense on a large map like Altitude to take advantage of how large this map is to, be more economic in general. Meanwhile, TeebuL across the map going for a Gate Expand. Or Gate Cyber Expand, sorry, into that Nexus. Going to be scouting across the map, getting a read on what's going on. He does confirm the CC on the low ground, so he's aware that his opponent isn't going to be rushing into units as quickly as he otherwise could have. And TeebuL is going for a Stargate opener, which makes a lot of sense. We mentioned earlier about how Muta play is a little bit more ideal on some of these larger maps just because, there's room for them to spread their wings, a lot of bases to take advantage of, and a lot of room to maneuver freely, I should say. And that does apply to Phoenixes as well. And it does look like TeebuL, this is the beginning of Phoenix Colossus. Before that occurs, though, the Reaper is taking control of the natural base. 2 probes go down already. Ay, ay, ay. 1 across the map, 1 at home. But the Reaper will be shut down. I believe the Reaper did not scout the tech. I believe Keen is in the dark as to what's going on. And with that Stargate opener, we are indeed going for Phoenixes. Again, Phoenixes, they do a great job at maintaining map control, at shutting down drops, at containing the Terran player on 2 bases. And they allow you to be safe enough to rush your tech into a robo, into a bay, into Colossi. Now, there are windows of opportunity that the Terran can take advantage of, and they can kill you as you're building up your Colossus count. But again, on a large map like Altitude, it's a little bit more difficult to be assertive as the Terran. So we'll see how this all comes together. Keen's setup here is I believe a 2-on-1, soon to be a 3-1-1 on 2 bases. Pretty standard setup. Does have a couple of mines on the field, a medevacs are on the way. We'll see if he does bring it all together here for a mine drop across the map. Ooh, as the Widowmine, I believe, did just kill an Adept. There were 2 Adepts, and as the Adept on the left-hand side was moving over towards the Zonaga, it did get sniped by that Widowmine. So good positioning out of Keen. Meanwhile, we have additional gateways on the way, so TeebuL is playing it safe. He's not rushing into a robo. He's making sure he has some production available. And this is going to be a risky maneuver. Widowmine drop is coming out, but TeebuL does have control of the Zonaga. He does spot the drop ahead of time. And the Phoenixes are on the way. Uh-oh. They are on route. They come across the drop. And they will shut down this medevac. Widowmines, not going to be able to burrow either. And TeebuL shuts this down. Again, the power of Phoenixes, the control that they give you. And I got ahead of myself. I assumed that this would be Phoenix Colossus. But a shout out to TeebuL because it is anything but. Instead of a Robo, he throws down a Twilight Council and a Forge as well. So this is looking to be, I imagine, +1 in charge. It typically doesn't make sense to go into Blink Stalkers from this position because the Stalker and the Phoenix, they have the same role. Their role is map control. Their role is harassment. So to invest into both this early on is typically ill-advised, but we'll see what kind of direction TeebuL goes in. Again, I'm predicting charge from here. There we go. Charge is on the way. Meanwhile, Phoenixes are diving into the main base, and they do just get confirmation of the production. They get a couple of workers. The army, though, is missing. The army is moving out across the map. Keen, very committed. He's going to lose a couple of SCVs back at home. I'm sure TeebuL has recognized, hold up, where are you? Why are you not here to stop me? I need to race back home. I need to try to catch the medevacs if possible. Phoenixes are out of position. Keen is pushing in. He does scan ahead of time. The tanks are going to be able to get within range of the production. Marines are going to try to zone away those Phoenixes. Tanks shelling away at the gateways. Charge still not done. Both gateways do get depowered, and Keen is slowly making his way into the main, into the natural. Without charge, these Zealots, they can't really engage. Oh! Big mine shot does go off. And Keen, he takes down 2 gateways, takes down a shield battery. We'll see if he commits or if he does back off. Again, charge is going to finish up in a couple of seconds, and yeah, now we can see TeebuL, he can collapse on this army. The Phoenixes, they come in from behind. They pick up the tanks, and TeebuL should clean this up. Takes down the Marines, takes down the tanks as well. Good target firing from Keen. He did almost reset the Phoenix count. There's only 1 Phoenix left. But that was also still a very committed attack from Keen. And again, what did he get? He got 2 gateways. He got a shield battery. I guess he did kill, like, what was that, 4 Phoenixes? There is value in that. And thankfully, Keen wasn't all in. He was expanding. He's taking his 3rd base. Being landed as we speak. As he's working towards Storm, working towards Blink. Sorry, as TeebuL is working towards Storm, working towards Blink. Finally working on some splash damage. Likewise, Keen is also just building up his forces and getting his 3rd up and running. Shout out to TeebuL, though. He is very quick to expand and take a 4th. So he's going to be able to maintain his economic lead. His worker count was left untouched. Again, the Widowmine drop didn't do anything. The tank push didn't touch the economy either. So TeebuL, he's looking pretty comfortable overall. I say that, you could make an argument that this 4th base is delayed. Keen, worker-wise, he is able to keep up. Arguably, Keen has a better economy than TeebuL right now, which is pretty impressive. He's muling quite hard. He's taking his gases. He's only down a handful of workers, and we're not considering, or that's not even taking into account those mules. So Keen looking pretty good. Oh, okay, we're good. I was like, those SCVs are disturbingly low, but they will survive. Meanwhile, TeebuL getting his 4th base. Working on even more splash damage. Storm is done, and he's got 4 High Templar with his main army. He has a Robotics Bay on the way for Colossus or Disruptors. Armies are soon to engage. A couple of Zealots are going to be going down. We have a Prism looking to threaten a drop into the main base as well. TeebuL setting up a tri-pronged attack. He's got Zealots on the left-hand side. He's got a drop into the main. He's got the main army pushing in as well. He comes in for the surround. He's collapsing on the Terran army. Zealots say, get on top of that bunker. Big storm. Oh my god. Good storms on the bio army as well. And it looks like we do manage to warp it into the main base. TeebuL, though, does he have enough to keep on pushing? It looks like he does not. He recalls back home. Didn't have enough staying power at the third base, but he does wreak havoc in the main. He gets 7 SCVs, and he camps the production. Eventually, he will be cleaned up. And will Keen have enough to be able to counterattack? As he is moving out towards the right-hand side. The Zealots are still alive, by the way. Finally, they go down. A spotter Zealot did see the army of Keen. You can see TeebuL getting in position. He's anticipating a drop into the main, and that's exactly what Keen is doing. Oh, there are some High Templar. They can feedback. They can storm. Oh, the army does move out of position, but still in the main base. And Keen, he I think, wisely backs off. Doesn't want to throw away his army. But he has a second army on the left-hand side. And is TeebuL ready for this? He's got some Zealots. Yeah, he's got plenty of Zealots here. Oh, big mine shots, though. And even bigger mine shots as well. Every single Zealot goes down. The Widowmines will survive. They live to fight another day. As Keen rotates over to deny a fourth base, a fourth that is not there. It's not quite in position. The Colossus count is getting higher. We have 2 Colossi. We're about to have 4 Colossi for TeebuL. His army just becoming more refined. The pressure is on Keen. He's already got some Vikings on the way. He's getting a second starport for quadruple Viking production for Liberators eventually. He's working on +1 ship weapons. Army is moving out. And so far, both players kind of back off from each other. They're going to take this moment to breathe, to get back into their economies. Oh my god. Was that retargeted? High Templar goes down. Oh, and we can see TeebuL chase down this army. Take some big EMPs to the face. But those ghosts are looking very exposed. At the same time, we do have Keen pushing in towards the left-hand side. We have a pseudo base trade. Nexus will fall for TeebuL. At the same time, this planetary will also go down. Trading a base for a base. TeebuL can always recall back home. Meanwhile, Keen cannot. He has to commit. He has to go for another Nexus. He dives towards the third base. At the same time, TeebuL trying to force his way up the ramp into bunkers, into SCVs. The boys are being pulled, and Keen, he is holding. He has the high ground. He has the defender's advantage. With the arrival of these Vikings, they take down the Prism. They force back the Colossi. The Novus! Big connections. Keen, he wasn't looking. He was not looking, but he still gets a couple of those disruptors, and it looks like Keen has too much. He overwhelms the army of TeebuL. The space trade just was not it. TeebuL losing far too much. He's down to 2 bases against the 3 of Keen. On top of that, TeebuL, he just lost his Colossi, lost his disruptors. He has a couple of High Templar, but that is it. High Templar and some gateway units. And TeebuL, he knows that like he can't just tap out. Keen only needs 1 game. TeebuL, he had to fight back here and now for himself, for his team. But alas, in the midst of all that, in the midst of the base trade, in the midst of all that chaos, it just did not work out for TeebuL. Lost too much trying to break into the natural. And now Keen, he goes across the map. With ghosts, Vikings, EMPs. Plenty of medevacs. As many as Vikings, actually. And the commander is here. He has arrived. Big EMPs on the High Templar and the Archons. And the Protoss army melts before Keen. GG gets called. And Keen will take game number 1. Taking the series here for the KWANGDONG Freecs. GG, well played. In this best of 7, it is the first of 4, and the KWANGDONG Freecs will do it. They will advance on into the next round. But a shout out to Berserker Esports, because they put up quite a fight as well. We saw BattleB go toe-to-toe with Armani, looking quite powerful, looking quite strong. Here, TeebuL and Mixu had a bit of a harder time against their own opponents, against Stats and Keen. Stats especially was pretty surprising. Like, coming into this series, really, I was just looking at the KWANGDONG players. I wanted to see what kind of form they were in, and Stats was hyper aggressive. 2 all-ins, back-to-back, something very unexpected. And I wonder if, you know, post-military, Stats is a different kind of player, a different kind of person. I wonder if he just went for these all-ins because it was unexpected, or if this is just how he's playing currently. You know, is he just looking to be in the face of his opponent in at least PvZs? Or was he just being fancy tonight? Time will tell. Time will tell when it comes to the current play style of Stats and the current form of Stats as well. Likewise with the other players, so GG, well played. Earlier today, Armani Esports did take their own series, so that does mean that they will be getting into that later on. Meanwhile, it looks like we will still play out the next game. So it is a best of 2, and in the end, KWANGDONG Freecs will still take the series, but Berserker Esports are still going to be looking to fight back, as TeebuL's map of choice is going to be Royal Blood. Let's go, let's go. So for those wondering, I believe it's as per the rules. Even if you lose a best of 2 in game 1, or if you lose the series in game 1, the players, if they so choose, they can play out game 2. They can still play it out. It looks like they will. TeebuL is going to be coming out here on Royal Blood, looking to redeem himself. Now, in a way, the pressure is off. In a way, the series is over, so TeebuL, he doesn't have to worry about that, about these kind of things looming over his head. He can focus on his game. What does he have in store for us? We still have one more game of StarCraft. Let's go. Let us go. As we get into the bottom left-hand corner of Royal Blood, and we have, for the KWANGDONG Freecs, Keen. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponents representing Berserker Esports. It is TeebuL from Pakistan. Here we go. And what does TeebuL have in store for us? What does Keen have in store for us? Because, you know, both players technically, this game has a little bit less weight on its shoulders, so they can go for more aggressive styles overall. We'll see if they will adapt and change, or if they go for something a little bit more straight up and standard instead. They have options. We want basements because we are gamers, and light burns us with its brilliance. It's true, it's true. The light it's dangerous. It's very dangerous. Keep it away. Born in Texas. Light is an Inca. True, true. Oh. Alright, here we go. I have been to Machu Picchu. I did climb through the ruins of Machu Picchu back in the day as well. It was quite something. I do know that nowadays it's a lot more modernized and a lot more safe for tourists, but it was yeah. Mate, walking along a cliff face with no railing is a little bit terrifying. On uneven stairs as well. Mate, one wrong step and it's over. it's something. That's how we did back in 09. But I'm pretty sure they've worked on that nowadays in the years since. But until then, we do see TeebuL gonna be moving out to, or just gonna be going for a standard opener, going for a gate expand, as to be expected. Likewise, we do have Keen going for his his Rax expand as well. So economic opener out of Keen. What's interesting is that he doesn't go for a Reaper. He goes for a Marine first instead. So yeah, Keen going to be cutting some corners. He's going to be lacking some scouting information. And TeebuL does commit to a proxy pylon. Here we go. The aggression is upon us. TeebuL is opening up with a Twilight Council. Could be for DTs, could be for Blink. I'm curious how he's going to use that. There we go, the proxy, as he is going for some proxy Dark Templar. Oh, I'm telling you, Poppy, mates, now that the series is in a way over, TeebuL, the pressure is off, the pants are off, and he's showing us what he's made of. 2 more gates are on the way. There's nothing holding him back. Give us the Dark Templar. Oh. Now, again, Keen, because he skipped his Reaper, he is not fully aware of what he's up against. He has very limited scanning information. He is unaware of the initial tech. And because of that, he's in quite some danger. Adept does shade into the main base, does confirm the 2-1 opener here of Keen, rushing into Stim, rushing into a Bio Army. Now, will he hold on to that energy? Will he have enough for a scan? Or will he mule? That is the question, as the Dark Shrine is about to finish up, and we need those scans here to be able to hold on. Behind this, TeebuL, looking to expand. Gateways have completed, and we are warping in three Dark Templar at a time. They're headed towards the natural. It looks like we don't have enough energy in the main base. We do not have any energy in the natural either. We just muled. We cannot scan. The DTs have arrived, and they are looking to wreak havoc here in the mineral lines. Marines are being one-shot. GG! GG gets called. No scans available whatsoever, and TeebuL fights back. He takes game 2 against Keen. Let's go. GG, well played. Unfortunate timing for Keen. He didn't scout or he didn't have a Reaper, so he couldn't scout the tech, and he just muled. And sometimes that's how the game can end. That's how StarCraft can end. If you have no energy for scans, you have no E-bays, you have no turrets, you have no detection, GG. GG, well played. We've all been there. We've all been, regardless of the matchup, it happens in PvP, it happens in PvZ, and it even happens here against Terran as well. The Invisible Man, you know, they can do you they can do you dirty sometimes. With that, regardless, congratulations to the KWANGDONG Freecs. They still do take the series, but a shout out to TeebuL and Berserker Esports for taking a couple of maps, taking a couple of games, and tomorrow we have elimination matches. Teams are being eliminated tomorrow. We have Berserker Esports versus Mystery Gaming and Twisted Minds versus Invictus Gaming. Now, someone did mention it earlier. So, because Matcherino Esports and KWANGDONG Freecs, because they're in the upper bracket finals, they qualified. They are in Code S. Congratulations. Congratulations to the KWANGDONG Freecs and congratulations to Matcherino Esports. They have made it into Code S. When it comes to the third spot, the third slot for Code S, it's going to be one of these 4 teams. And that is brutal. That is brutal because I look at these 4 teams, I look at Twisted Minds, I look at Mystery Gaming, I even look at Berserker and IG. Berserker and IG, they were a part of Code S last season. They were a part of Code S, and Mystery Gaming and Twisted Minds, they have some very high caliber players like Ragnarok, like Classic involved as well. And only one team will make it into Code S. Oh boy. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be intense. It's going to get crazy. It's going to get rowdy over the next couple of days. Of course, these are going to be tomorrow's matches, and we still have another 3 or 4 days left of Code A, so be sure to stick around. Be sure to tune in. Tune in to the CranKy Ducklings. We got you covered when it comes to World Team League action. Not just WTL, but of course we cast many other events as well. We cast the KSL, ESL Open Cup Asia, ESL Open Cup Americas, our own tournaments as well, like Grand Platypus Open, Sparkling Tuna Cup, the Tenacious Turtle Tussle, OSC King of the Hill, and many others. If you're a fan of StarCraft, if you enjoy StarCraft, consider following. Whether it's on Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Discord, socials in the chat to get links to all of our social media. So yeah, you can follow us if you're interested. We do post whenever we go live, and we are live on a daily basis here on the CranKy Ducklings. Quack, puppy, quack. A shout out as well to Kuro. Kuro, she has been handling the production, of course, for tonight, as she usually does. And a shout out to the people in the chat. thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. Hope you had a great night. And I hope you continue to have a great night because there's more StarCraft going on. I'm going to be going to bed. But I believe in a couple of hours, the OSC mid-season playoffs is going to be going on, and that's going to be covered by Wardy over on his channel. So you can tune into some more StarCraft shortly. Outside of that, thank you so much for watching. Stick around. We're going to be giving another streamer a raid. I'm not too sure who, but there's a couple of options available. We will spread the love as best we can. So give out the love. Give out the love. With that, we're done for the night. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. We'll see you guys tomorrow for some more World Team League. Until then, adios.